And we're off air. Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. You are here for a great reason. This is the Spa of the Soul. I'm here with our host, Adrienne Marks, who is broadcasting all the way from Cyprus. Over to you, Adrienne.
Hello, Marina. And as they say in Cyprus, Kalispera.
Kalispera, it is.
Kalispera, because it's evening. It's not night, but it's evening. And yes, I'm in Cyprus, a land of it's absolutely beautiful here, wonderful people and awesome food, and I'm having a great time. But I couldn't let Thursday go without talking to you. So here I am. And I've got some really interesting stuff that I want to talk about this evening. Um, I've been having a big sort of think, and I realize that people get to a stage in their lives where they don't know why things aren't working for them. They put out intentions, they put out goals, and it doesn't matter how hard they work, it's not happening. And they don't know why. And they say, what am I doing wrong? And it's not that they're doing anything wrong. What's happening is that the vibration of their words, their intentions, and the vibration of what's going on inside are different. And so, because our inner resources, our inner soul, if you like, knows exactly what the truth is. So we can be saying something like, I want more money, and working like crazy to make more money, and it's not happening. And you think, why isn't I'm working hard, I'm working all the hours I can, I'm doing all the right things, I'm doing social media, I'm networking, blah, 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 blah. But it's not happening. Why isn't it happening? Because what's going on inside is not resonating. And so you're not in vibration. And so what you're putting out is just words, and it has no meaning for the universe. The universe says, well, it's not working for you. And the same can be true if you're looking at your relationships, or you want a romantic relationship, or you want better health. If what's going on inside isn't resonating with what your intentions are, it's not going to happen. And that's a very, very difficult thing to actually to know the truth. And you have to be very, very honest with yourself. And sometimes we're very hard on ourselves, but that's not the same thing. We beat ourselves up for not being enough, and we're more than enough. We beat ourselves up for having that last piece of chocolate cake, for saying no to somebody when maybe we should have said yes, to not working late in the office because we're so tired. And we feel guilty. And so we go home and we beat ourselves up. Why didn't I? Why shouldn't I? Why did I? And so what we're resonating is disbelief, is not belief in who we are. I was talking to somebody today, and we were talking about this amazing woman called Efrosini Adamides, and she is part of an amazing networking company, network marketing company, and she is an incredibly strong woman. And one of the things I was saying about her is that she is she has this innate belief in herself. You can tell it by looking at her. You can tell it when you hear her speak. That what she talks about the from the heart. There's no bullshit with her. What you see is what you get. But what is amazing about her is the fact that you can see it in her eyes. You know that what she's talking about, she believes. And that's the switch. That's the important thing that you need to do. When you believe, that you can do things, then you can do them. So what you have to actually do is accept that that you're not this strong, wonderful person. And when you accept this stuff, I've talked about this before, the good, the bad, the light, the dark, everything's got an opposite. And we tend to push down, if we get negative feelings, we push it down. We say affirmations to make ourselves feel better. And it's not resonating. I've got a happy, slender body. And, 3 weeks later, you're still saying it and it's not working. Why? Because you don't believe it. You don't believe that your body is healthy, that you feel good about yourself. And so you've got to say, okay, this is who I am. I'm not this genius, this wonderful, amazing person. But what I am is all of me. I am this, the person who maybe gets very cross sometimes with my children, or gets very frustrated when, the internet doesn't work, or I get cross when, you know, when my husband says, oh, what we having for dinner? And I'm like, seriously, all I've done it today is work, and now I've got to come home and cook for you. It's, and we have to accept that's who we are. That's all our parts, not just a bit, the nice bit, the bit that goes, oh, of course, darling, I'll make you dinner. Of course, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, I look lovely, when inside this voice is going, you don't, you look fat, or look at that spot on your chin, or whatever. And you have to accept that and listen to that voice, hear that voice, and go, okay, I'm not very happy with it, but I'm willing, and this is really interesting, this stuff, I am willing to consider loving that part of myself. I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to do it, because I tell you what, you start saying, oh, yeah, I love all of me. It won't make any difference, because you still won't love all of you, and you won't make any difference. You still won't be achieving your intentions, achieving your goals, because you're still lying. Because you're saying, I've heard those voices, but I'm not really listening to them. I've damped them down. Or I'm pretending to accept them. The universe isn't stupid. The universe just gives you back what you're putting out. And if you're putting out lack, that's what it's going to bring you. It's going to bring you more of the same. So you've got to be totally honest and say, I know that there's stuff that I don't like about myself. I know I do stuff that I'm not happy with. And I'm willing to consider actually loving that part of myself. It might take me some time, but I'm willing to consider it. So you're making the first step. And as you make that first step, you'll start to feel a bit lighter, and you'll start to feel a bit better about the anger, and about the sadness, and about the frustrations, and about the whatever else is going on with you. And you'll be able to say, it's not all sweetness and light, because life's not like that. There are challenges, and we have to accept that we're a whole. We're not a part. We're not this part that is all, all the right side is good and all the left side is bad. I have great skin, but it's only good on one side of my body. The other side is horrible. It's not like that. You've got a spot on your chin. Okay, you've got a spot on your chin. So what does it matter? And you have to look at where these thoughts come from, because that's what's really important. When was the first time somebody actually said, no, you can't do that? Somebody said to you, you stood up and said, well, I want to draw. And they said, oh, don't be silly. You can't do that. You're no good at drawing. Or, I want to stand on stage and recite a poem. I want to act, or, I want to dance, or I want to do something. And somebody, well, who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing? And you go, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that then. And if that happens when you're a child, it stops you forever. It makes you feel that you're less, because I've said this before, up till the time we're 7 years old, we're like sponges and we take all this stuff in. And if you wanted to be a ballet dancer when you were 6 years old, and your mother or the teacher said, "Oh, don't be silly, you can't dance. You've got two left feet," or whatever they said to you. And you think, okay. And so for the rest of your life, you're not going to dance? How dreadful. Dancing is so freeing, so wonderful. And if that's what you want to do it. But if you feel, oh, well, I can't stand up on the dance floor because I'll look silly, because 30 years ago somebody told me that I couldn't do it, think of all the experiences you're missing out on. So you have to find those things and remember them. And sometimes they might be painful, but remember them and go, okay, I understand that. But you know what? That's part of me. And if I can't dance, I can't dance. But I tell you what, I'm going to have a bloody good try. If I can't write a book or I can't draw a flower, I might not be good at it. But if that's what's in my heart, I'm going to try. And because it's in my heart, I'll do it well. And even if I don't do it well and somebody laughs at me, do you know what? I don't care, because I am willing to consider all my thoughts, all my feelings, because that makes up me. Not just the positive stuff, not just, the wonderful, oh, I'm a great mother or a great teacher or a great boss or a great secretary or a great driver, whatever you are. You're a person first and foremost, and you're made up of all these parts, some good, some bad, because nobody, probably not even Gandhi or Mother Teresa, was 100% perfect. Because there's no such thing as perfect people. The world will be very boring if we were all perfect. It's our little idiosyncrasies that set us apart, that make us unique, not just our fingerprints, but us, our quirkiness, our eccentricities, being who we are. And being who we are is the good bits and the bad bits, the things that we think are bad. Somebody else might think is wonderful. Somebody said to me the other day, "I love your laugh." And I went, "Oh, thank you very much." It's not something I'd ever considered before, that I've got a nice laugh or whatever it was. And I just thought, oh, what a nice thing to say. And as I say, I'd never particularly thought about it before. But I can be, but I enjoy my eccentricities. I like being different. I don't want to be like the sheep. I don't want to be like everybody else. And it's my uniqueness that sets me apart, and it's your uniqueness that sets you apart. So you have to love yourself, warts and all your bits, the good bits and the bad bits. And you don't have to say, I'm perfect, because you're not. And nobody wants you to be perfect. Everybody wants you to be you, just who you are. And so you have to give all of yourself acceptance, permission to be. Not do. You're a human being, not a human doing. And you have to just be. You have to just accept all the bits, the silliness. My mother had a very strange sense of humor, and she was very funny, and it was part of her. And it's one of the things that I miss most about her. She would laugh at the silliest things, and it was just wonderful. And there were occasions where I used to say to her, and she died. She was in her 90s, and when she was well, there were times when I used to say to her, what are you going to do when you grow up? And she just used to laugh at me, and that's so wonderful to have that childishness, um that feeling of, children play. And again, I was talking to somebody. I was on some tour the other day, in Paphos, and they were talking about, racial discrimination, black, white, green, yellow, whatever, Muslim, Jew, Christian, Catholic, whatever it is. And I was saying the thing is that children play together and they have no discrimination. They have no filters, right, wrong, black, white, doesn't make any difference. If you're my friend, then you're my friend, and children do this thing. They go, you do something to upset me, and it's like, you're not my friend anymore. And then tomorrow they forget all about it and they'll play with you again. And that's how we ought to be. And I know that sounds very simplistic, but it's how we ought to be, to have this openness. And as soon as you go to school, as soon as you start getting older, it's all knocked out of you. Your individuality, your expressiveness, your artistic creativity. And they put you in a little box and they say, this is what you've got to do. This is what you've got to do. And so by the time you leave school and maybe you go to university or college, you just go into another little box and another little box, and you come out and you've got this huge student loan and you've got to get a job and you can't find a job, and you go into a supermarket and you stack shelves and do whatever you have to do, and you think, life is so awful. Life isn't awful. Life is what we make it. And we can be, we can do whatever we want to do, but we have to believe that we can do whatever we want to do. And that's the important thing. You have to believe that you are whole. You're this amazing person. You can be anything you want to be, but you have to be true to yourself. You have to listen to your heart, and you have to tell yourself that I'm willing. I am so willing to accept and give myself permission, all the permission I need to have bad thoughts, to feel angry with somebody, to feel upset, to feel sadness, to feel frustration when things don't work out. By saying life is perfect, or, I get the perfect job, or I do this, or I do that, if you don't feel it inside, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to give yourself permission to be, to just be, not do anything, but to just be you. All of you, the good bits, the bad bits, the black bits, the white bits, whatever it is, the dark thoughts as well as the light thoughts. You're willing to consider, just listen to those words. I am willing to consider, to give myself permission to be whole. I am willing to consider giving myself permission to go after something and get frustrated. I'm willing to consider the frustration that I feel. I'm willing to consider the sadness that I feel, the anger that I feel about so and so or about that situation. Because it's me, because it's part of you. If a child does something that makes you really angry, I'm willing to consider, that I got really angry at him. He really made me cross. My husband really made me cross. My boss made me angry. I'm willing to consider those feelings. I don't want to live in this numb world where everything is so positive and light and wonderful, because if you walk around saying, oh, I'm in my little bubble and everything's perfect, when in your heart everything's not perfect, you're doing yourself a disservice. Because life, as I have said many times before, is far too short. And if you don't give yourself permission to love all of you, every single bit, the good, the bad, the black, the dark, the light, then you're only living half a life. And you'll find you'll wake up one day and life will be over and it'll be too late. And you don't want that. You want to live as well as you can. And the thing is, once you start giving yourself permission to be whole, to be all the stuff that you are, the frustrations and the anger and the sadness and the joy and the delight and the fact that you want to eat an extra piece of chocolate, or as my friend did this afternoon, have yet another ice cream, um, and give yourself permission to just live. And then once you start doing that, do you know what will happen? That's when the miracle happens. That's when it happens. That's when you'll suddenly find that the job comes to you and the money comes to you and the relationship comes to you, because you're going to be true. You're being true. You're being you. And that's how it works. That's really how it works. What do you think, Marina?
Wow. I feel that loving yourself is a science and is a medicine.
Yeah.
And you have to take it in small portion like any new drug and accept it. You can't take it in one go. Takes time. Especially after when you've been conditioned all your life to believe that you are not worth
Anything.
anything. You are not good enough. You are not
Yeah.
smart enough. You are not beautiful enough. You are not sexy enough.
Yeah.
You are
You're not
not
enough.
enough. And guess what? You are plenty.
Mm.
You are so abundant. And look at you, Adrienne. You got this amazing energy. And you are thousands of miles away, and I feel your hug.
Oh.
I feel your love because you are love. So grateful to be part of this journey and learning from you and getting clarity on what matters the most.
Mm.
Me time.
Me time. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm looking at a poster at the moment, and it says, "Be your dream, create, live, love." That's so wonderful. And then it says underneath, every moment. And that's it. We have to take every moment and just be, be still, be us, be a part of who we really are.
And you know, Adrian, I'm so excited about our book coming out on the 22nd of June this year. The simple truth about me time. Great conversations with Adrienne Mars, and I should say the one and only. I
Thank you
love
very
breaking the
much.
news. You know, I
Thank
love bringing
you.
good news, and
Thank you.
I know that people are seeking something else. They know there is, and they keep looking
Mm,
outside, thinking must be more to life, must be more to life than work and commitments and all this
absolutely.
heaviness and crashing demands made on me. 20 hours a day, even in sleep, you take it with you, you can't escape. And guess what? Everything is already inside. You got it all. You got
Yeah,
this abundance of spirit, of love, of joy, of laughter, and everything is already there. Just allow
exactly.
yourself to meet yourself. Allow yourself to discover me time. This is the
Yeah.
only time you are going to discover the treasure. Stop chasing the treasure. There is nothing you don't have. Over to you, Adrienne.
Um, absolutely. It's not outside of you, it's inside of you, and it's all there. And having been told for so long that you're not, as you said, you're not worthy, you're not enough. You're not beautiful enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not rich enough, you're not clever enough. It's always not something enough. You are more than enough. You are much more than enough. And when you believe that, when you give yourself permission to be all you can be, then everything will work out for you. Everything will happen. And once you look inside, it's so, oh my God, that's who I am. That's who I am. This crazy, creative, wonderful individual. That's who I am. You are so unique. You're as unique as your fingerprints and special. But you
You,
don't need
unique
me.
as unique as your eye color. You know that every single type of blue, every single type of
Yeah,
brown, and it's different from
it's
the other one.
different. Exactly. Exactly. That is so, isn't that incredible? Because people say, "Oh, well, I've got brown eyes." Well,
No,
yeah,
you
but
don't.
there's
You
no.
have your own brown eyes.
Absolutely. I know. And that is so exciting. So you're an individual. You're just you. And give yourself permission to be you. And when you do that, when you give yourself permission to accept all of you, the craziness, the silliness, the frustration, whatever's going on, give yourself that permission. And when you do that, that's when the truth happens. And they say the truth shall set you free. And it will. It will set you free and it'll make you realize, oh my God, this is so awesome. And suddenly, all those intentions that you could never attain before are just coming to you like dropping out of the sky because you're resonating in truth. You're resonating with what's really going on in your heart. So suddenly, the man of your dreams turns up. People will turn up in your life. Business will show up, money will show up, riches of every single kind will turn up for you because you're being you. You're being truthful. You're being honest. You're being this wonderful person with your own eye color, your own fingerprints, and your own joy inside.
So Adrian, I just had a very interesting conversation with our host, our networking host from South Africa,
Uh-huh.
Charlie Monson, and he was talking about confidence in networking. But from what you are saying, is that confidence is coming from loving yourself, from
Mm-hmm.
accepting yourself.
Yes.
Wow.
Because when for instance, you go to a networking meeting, and I've done lots of networking meetings, and if you believe in what you're selling, if you believe in your product, say, then you
But
can
you, you,
go up
you
to
are the
people.
product. You are the product.
Yes, absolutely.
You are the big idea. You
Yeah.
are not in a sense of not in a sense of putting a price. You are priceless. So in a total different sense. So it's not about you selling yourself short. It's you selling your idea, your abundance, your greatness, and that is priceless.
Absolutely, absolutely. But when you're like that, when you do talk to people, you talk with an innate passion about whatever it is you're talking about, whatever your business is, whatever you're there to do. You have this passion, and it's a confidence, and people are drawn to you. People say, "Well, she obviously knows what she's doing." It's like I was talking about this Efrosini. When she talks, you just know she knows what she's talking about, but that she also believes in it because she believes in herself. And I think that's it. And sometimes people, they struggle with when especially if they're starting a business and they've got to do this going to networking meetings, which can be very daunting if you're not used to going up to people. I love talking to strangers, I always have
But
done.
do you think do you think, Adrian, that being in a Western society is diminishing your ability to believe in yourself and your idea, and you being abandoned as not just not good enough? Do you think
It's
that is contributing is a major reason why brilliant people in Western societies, they cannot find the confidence anymore?
Yeah, you've actually hit the nail on the head. What happens is there's a lot of people out there who, when they're at home, when they start off their business, they have, I'm an expert in XYZ, but they're made to feel less. They're made to feel, they go to a seminar and somebody says, this is the way to do social networking, social media. And this is the way you do it. And if, like me, you're not very technically savvy, um, you
You
start
are. Don't
thinking,
say that. You are.
oh, okay,
You
all right,
created
all
so
right,
many
okay.
things already. Oh my God. You are better than me anyway. So what are you saying? I'm not good enough?
Okay, no, I'm not saying I'm not good enough. But what I'm saying is that people can go along to these things and they hear these quotes experts and they think, oh, I can't do that. Or, I'm not able to do that. And then they come away feeling less. So they buy all these books and all sorts of things, and then they do what somebody once said to me is called shelf development. You buy these books on how to run your business better, and then you take it home, you stick it on a shelf, and you never read it again. And I do believe that if you have this belief in yourself, that whatever it is, whatever your business is, whatever you're talking to people about, they will be entranced. They will be enthused by you. They will get it. And even if they don't want your product or whatever it is that you're doing, they it's it they will like you. They will say, "Well, do you know what? It's not for me, but do you know what? I know somebody who it might be." And that's the thing. That's what networking's about. Networking is all about relationships. It's not about selling something to somebody as quickly as you possibly can. It's about building relationships, and it's about referring people, saying, no, I can't possibly use your services, or I have no use for your services, but do you know what? I think I know somebody who will be. And then you put them in touch with them. I've done it many times for people. And I believe that's the sign of a good networker. But you can only do that when you've got confidence in who you are.
But you see,
Because,
Adrian, I'm sorry to, because this is, I really need your opinion on this. We witness a lot of networking for women. And to me,
yes.
that's hurtful because women are not less. They don't need to create their own networking events.
No,
They are not less than men.
no,
So why
absolutely.
why is this phenomenon going on? Why people, women, have the desire not to waste their time being treated as women instead of being taken seriously when they go to a networking event as a business person, not as a woman, and then they get tired and sick and tired of being treated less than they are, and then they
Hmm.
create their own networking event. What do you think about this?
Um, it's an interesting subject, and to be honest with you, when I first started doing coaching many years ago, and I went to networking events, and they weren't men and women events; they were just events. And I used to go, and I used to watch. I started talking to men, and I could see their eyes glaze over when I started talking about what I was talking about, but the thing I learned from that was to change how I spoke to men. And I spoke to men in one way and women in another way, which is also very interesting. But I do agree with you. There are in the UK, a lot of women only events. And as you say, women aren't less, they're not more, they're just different, and I think that the women that have made these events. I know two such women, two very strong, powerful business women who done their own events and have their own sort of groups. I believe that both of them feel that they're doing a service to women. That it's better for women to be in a women only environment. But I don't know if it is. I really don't know
I
if
don't
it
think it
is.
is personally. I think shows weakness, shows that they not on their side is that they are not accepted for who they are. Their perception, because of social conditioning and all that nonsense that societies carries for hundreds of years, they are not treated rightly. So they
Mm.
said, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to go to a networking event and be treated as a woman. I don't want a date. If I want a date, I go to a dating networking event.
Yeah,
I'm here
yeah,
for
yeah.
business. I cannot
Yes.
be treated as I'm looking for a date, because I'm not. And it's a very interesting the way men react. Not everybody, of course, but when they see a woman coming confident and having a great idea, and all she wants is to share her business idea, all
Mm.
she wants is to serve, all she wants is to be treated as a business person, and yet
Yeah,
she's not. And
absolutely.
that's so upsetting that most the smartest women now are saying, you know what, I'm going to run my own events and I'm going to have my own networking event. And if that means some men which they deserve to be part of this are going to miss out on great things, so be it. I'm
Yeah,
tired.
absolutely. And it's funny because I was talking to my friend today who's doing a new venture for her. And one of the things she has to do is go and talk to somebody about the product that she's selling. And I was talking to her and she said, I usually speak to, oh, she said, that was it. We were sitting there in the sunshine and she was saying, oh, I'm waiting for this man to phone me back. And I said, well, when did you see him? And she said, 2 weeks. And I said, 2 weeks is too long for him to be making his mind up. This is crazy. What's going on? So she was explaining it to me. And I said, no, you don't want to speak to the manager. You want to be speaking to the owner. Because I said, and she said, oh, I went to see somebody and he said, "Oh, hold on a minute," and somebody came in to interrupt, and I said to her, "Do you know what you have to do when you phone up? You say, I need to speak to the owner." Or the person with the purse strings, whatever, however you want to say it. But I want 20 minutes of your time, and I want 20 minutes of uninterrupted time. And you lay the ground rules straight away because, I said they'll look at you and they'll go, oh, she's a pretty girl. And I'm not going to take her
Yes.
seriously. And I'm just going to like pat
Yeah.
her on the head and say, oh, she's lovely, but thank you very much. I'll think about it. No, I said, you're a serious businesswoman. And in fact, I told her about a thing that happened to me about 2 years ago when I had met somebody at a networking event, and he was so full of himself, this man, and he wouldn't meet in just any old coffee shop. We had to meet in this very smart hotel restaurant down in St James's off the Mall, which is very, very smart and posh, as you well know. And I met him in there, and at the time I had this little like a little, it was called a netbook, and it was quite small, and it was like a tiny laptop really, and it was really lovely. But we talked for a little while, and then I said to him, "Yeah, I wanted to show him the presentation." So I went to take my headphones out, and he said, "No, no, it's all right, I'll use my own." And I was like, "Okay, fine, whatever." So then he started talking about how much did this netbook cost, and he wanted to buy one for his wife, and I was like, seriously? And then he started watching my presentation. And within 3 minutes, he started talking about something else. And what I did was I stood up, I unplugged his headphones from my netbook, and I said to him, "Thank you very much for your time. I'm going." And he said, "What? What do you mean you're going?" And I said, "I'm a businesswoman, and you've been treating me," I said, "certainly not like a business person. You've no respect at all. You've been talking all the time. You're talking about my netbook. That's not business." So he said, "You're being very unbusiness. You're being very unprofessional." And I said,
Oh,
"No, I'm
really?
actually, I'm
Yeah.
actually being very professional." I said, "Thank you very much for your time." But he said, "But I haven't seen anything." And I said, but you don't want to see anything. You know everything about everything. I said, and I really don't want to do business with somebody like this. So thank you very much for your time. Goodbye. And I just closed up the thing, put it in my bag, and walked out. And I was like, yes, I was so proud of myself because he was totally treating me disrespectfully. It was like, oh, she's a pretty little girl and she'll just, do whatever I want to do. It was disgusting to be treated like that. And I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not gonna be spoken to like this. Absolutely ludicrous. And so this is what I was saying to my friend today, that when she phones to make an appointment, she's very sort of businesslike because she's got a lovely way about her and she's very, very friendly. And I said, don't be too friendly. Be friendly, be charming, but don't overdo it. And just say, I need to see the owner. I need to see the person with the purse strings. And I need 20 minutes of your time, 20 minutes uninterrupted time. Because there's nothing worse than being in a meeting with somebody and then somebody walks in or he takes a phone call. Oh, excuse me. And he just takes a phone call. It's like, what's that? That's not treating you with respect. So that's what we have to do. And I think you're right. I think that a lot of women go to mixed, regular networking events, and then they'll find, that a man won't treat them very respectfully. They'll flirt with them or, and they don't treat male people like that. They don't treat men like that. So why should they treat women like that? So that's why I believe that women have said, okay, well, bugger you, and we'll do our own.
Which is such a big miss, because together, imagine creating a team, a diverse team where people are people, they're not men, women, black, white, yellow, blue. Imagine. So
Exactly.
it's accepting, because you're talking about accepting yourself, but it's so much harder where other people don't accept you. And it's
Exactly.
21st century, it's
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable not to be accepted, and there's nothing you do wrong. It's all about refusing not to be accepted. It's all about accepting that you are good as you are and you are wonderful as you are. You don't need
Exactly.
to be looked down. You don't need to you are not born to be helped. You are born to lift the heaviness of the challenges in this world. Is each one of us got that power. Each one of us is entitled to who they are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Wow, Adrienne, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the time
you.
from the sunny Cyprus and being so generous with your time and your
Oh, you're
kindness.
very you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. It really is my pleasure. I
And
love
before
talking to you.
and
Go on.
before we go, just
Yes.
remind ourselves what's happening. So on the 22nd of June
Yes.
2016, we are
Yes.
launching the book Great, The Simple Truth About Me Time, Great Conversations with Adrienne Marks. And a month later, what's happening on the 22nd of July?
Oh, Marina, on the 22nd of July, Friday, the 22nd of July, we've got International Me Time Day. So, no excuse for anybody not to be good to themselves that day, including me. It's going to be an amazing day.
I
I'm
can't
going
wait. I can't wait, and
me as
I'm keep
well.
practicing till then.
Me as well. I'm practicing a lot till then. I
So
certainly am.
until next time, which
Yes.
is Monday, from both of us, is practice me time. That's your
Practice.
homework.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, practice, practice, practice till you get it right, and then just keep practicing. And just have a wonderful week. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy wherever you are. Have a fabulous, fabulous time. And I'm sending lots of love. And just enjoy being you, and accept all of you, and give yourself permission to be. That's it. That's all I've got to say. Sending you lots of love.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.